Take your game night from 0 to 100. This is our review of That Escalated Quickly.
That Escalated Quickly is a party game about ordering players' answers by their intensity level, and I have a lot of fun trying to guess where my friends' limits were.
This game can be a lot of fun if you're playing with a group of people that all understand each other's humor levels. We'll tell you all about it after this quick how to play. That Escalated Quickly is played over several rounds, with each player being assigned a number 1 through 10 at the start of each round.
Then, one player reads a prompt card, and each player takes a turn answering the prompt.
Players should give an answer that they think meets the intensity level of their number.
The player that read the prompt card then chooses numbers to flip over, trying to go lowest to highest.
If the correct order is guessed, the prompt card goes on the good card side. If not, it goes on the bad card side.
If you get 3 bad cards, everyone loses. If you get 3 good cards, everyone wins.
Before we give you our thoughts, if you're enjoying our content, please like this video, subscribe to our channel.
All your likes and subscribes really help our channel escalate to the top, so thank you.
This is from the same publishers as Exploding Kittens, so it has that same humor level as those other games. This one does require a lot more of input on that humor level from the players that are playing. So depending on what the prompts are and who you're playing with could lead to different kinds of answers. And also depending on how many players you're playing with and what the intensity levels are could also change those answers, because anything at an intensity level of 10 could be kind of a crazy answer, could be NSFW, may be appropriate depending on who you're playing with. So safe to say that we had a lot of fun with it playing with our group because we all kind of know each other's humor levels. I think it would be fun to take to a party. You just may have to like scale it back a little bit and gauge where everyone is before you start shouting off crazy answers if you get the number 10 card. But I really do love the concept of the game where you're being creative, everyone's giving an answer, but you have to kind of scale your creativity based on your number, because if you get a 1, you don't want to go too overboard. If you get a 5, you got to find that happy medium. So I like where this game is going.
When it comes to party games, I do kind of look at Exploding Kittens a little bit more because we kind of started there, so I keep an eye out of what they're doing. This game reminded me of another game they had where I think you had to do charades and kind of act out the different intensity level of the charades. So when we were reading the rules here, that's what it kind of reminded me of. But it's a little bit different, but still a lot of fun as a party game. I mean, pretty much what you see is what you get. It's basically just cards, and then you have your number, a prompt gets asked, and then you say something like, oh, a worm, or oh, a lion. It's like, okay, like, and then try and figure out where it fits along there. When you're playing with your friends and you have to guess what the other person, what their prompt is, or like what level it is, it does obviously help to know the person, because if you have a prompt and they're like, oh, a nail in the foot, and you're like, oh, wow, that's pretty intense because I've never experienced that. But then they're like, oh no, I've gotten shot before, so a nail in the foot is like nothing. And you're like, whoa, that like I did not see that coming at all. So that's why I think it's a little bit fun, even with strangers, because then you start learning the limits, or you're learning a little bit more about them when they give their answers. You're like, really? That?
So at the start of each round, each player is going to be dealt out a number, and that'll be face down. So only the player who gets that card will know their number. So I'm a number 2. So I'll have this here. One player will get a prompt and they'll read it out. Something at the store was discounted to 99% off. What was it? And then from 1, least likely I'll buy it, to 10, most likely I'll buy it. And then so you have to come up with something 90%, 99% off, most likely I'll buy it, or least likely I'll buy it. And then, so I'm a 2, so I want to say least likely. So if it's 99% off, what is it going to be that you probably won't buy? That's the way that you have to think about it. Then all the players will say their answer, and then the player who read the prompt will then flip over the cards, trying to put them in correct order. And depending on how many players are playing, you get like 1 or 2 mess ups before you lose the round. But if you put it all in the correct order without going over however many mess ups you're allowed, then you put it on the good card side. But if you mess up and you don't, then you put it on the bad card side, and that's how you can win. The rules say you can go to 3, but you can change that amount. You just want to play it a couple times. Or if you don't even want to keep track of the good or bad cards, you don't even have to do that really, because it's all about the fun and the party atmosphere of playing this game. So this is another one of those games where I really think it's a lot of fun if you're creative, if you know the group you're playing with, or if you know that the group that you're playing with, even if you don't know everybody, everyone's kind of open to these kind of party games. So I do think that there's a right audience for this type of game. It's not for everybody, but if you are into these types of games, then I think a lot of people will enjoy it.
The box says 2 to 8 players. There's obviously 1 through 10. So, I mean, I guess technically 10 people can play, but that'll probably be really hard, right? Because, you know, if you're 2 and I'm 3 and it's like, oh, well, is it like,
really?
You know, but if you're playing like 4 players or 5 players, then it could be like, oh, someone has 8, 9, 10 and the other people have like 1, 5. And you're like, oh, okay, that's definitely a 1 answer. So you don't have to worry about that doesn't sound like a 2. That's definitely going to be the lowest one. Whereas like, obviously you're playing a full amount of cards, then it's like 1 and 2, now 2 and 3, now 3 and 4. Like,
you gotta really know your audience.
You really have to know them then, and they have to really know you. I think it would be fun if you bring it to an even bigger party than just like make more, well, maybe not make more cards, well, have an 11 through 20 booster set or something, and then really watch the fun begin there. So like I said at the top, I really like how you just kind of start learning maybe your friends' limits that you didn't know they had. It's like, really? That's the lowest or that's the highest? Or you put this in the middle? No way. You can have a little like debate or discussion about it and everyone learns about you now, even if you were like a complete stranger.
I really enjoyed the funness of this. Exploding Kittens always make fun games, even if sometimes they're not the best games or the most strategic games. They're always usually at least a little bit fun. This one is a lot of fun depending on the group that you're playing with. But even if you're playing with a lot of people who are just like, meh, 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 you could still have fun with this game. So that's what I really enjoy about this. It's always a fun time playing. What did you not like about this game?
So I think it's the player count that I don't really like that much. It's 2 to 8, there's only 1 through 10, so that's its limit, right? With Exploding Kittens, I could just buy 2 packs and combine them, and then boom, now I can just have tons more people to play. I can't do that with this because the cards are only 1 through 10, and I would just buy a second set of 1 through 10.
The thing that I didn't like about this game is the issue that you have with all these types of games is always the prompt cards. Some are more funny than others. Some are that's kind of stupid. Let's go to a better one. And then the other problem with this is you only have so many prompt cards that after a while, and they are double-sided, but after a while, you're gonna run through them all. And if you're playing with the usual group of friends that we play with mostly the same people all the time, you're gonna get used to those prompts and you're gonna be like, yeah, we saw that prompt, let's find something out. And then eventually the game will get stale. I'm sure they can come out with expansions depending on how well this sells. I don't know if they're gonna have as many expansions as Exploding Kittens does, but after a while, this game will be a little bit repetitive and kind of boring. So that's kind of the downside, but that's the downside with a lot of these player judge type of party games.
Overall, I'd play this again. I'd play it even more if we played it with a lot of different people each time. But over time, if you're sticking with the same group and you keep playing it, then obviously you're just going to run through it and you're like, okay, worm, lion, I get it. All right, next. Like, okay, this is what it is. It'll just get too easy. Yeah, you could think of like challenges or house rules, but that's pretty much it.
Overall, I would play this again. There is a limit to how many times you can play it with your group of friends over and over and over again before it gets repetitive. So I do think it's more fun the first few times that you play it. I do think it's fun when you play it with new people and you get to experience those new answers. I don't think it's necessarily a game for everyone, but if these are the types of games that you like, I think you should definitely take a look at it. If I was scoring this on Board Game Geek, I'd probably give it like a 5. It's that level of party game. So overall, it was fun. I'd play it again, but it's not the greatest. And that was our review of That Escalated Quickly.
What'd you think? Is this going to quickly make it to your game night? Let us know in the comments below.
And if you're enjoying our content, please like this video, subscribe to our channel.
Until next time, I'm Lee.
I'm Kenny. I go party like a board gamer.